got a lot of love for War of the Monsters on PS2. Growing up, I was way into Godzilla, and I still am, so I wanted to play all the giant monster games I could find. And seeing this game on the shelves of Hollywood Video was pretty much the whole reason I wanted to get a PS2 in the first place. That and that Transformers Armada game that was just called Transformers for some reason. Wait, was that always there? Transformers Brand? So does that mean the full title is Transformers Brand? That's some Freddy's Coming shit. Like, they've already got the trademark symbol there. Do they really need to point out that it's the brand, too? Did they worry people would think the game is about electrical transformers or something? So anyway, when I actually got the console, I couldn't find the game right away, so I ended up getting Robot Alchemic Drive instead, and holy shit, that game is incredible, but we'll talk about that one some other time. When I eventually found a copy of this game, it was awesome, but I'm sure if you're watching this, you don't need me to tell you that. Basically everything I'd hoped it would be, and it even introduced me to this weird game called Twisted Metal Black. Oh, it's like Interstate 76, that game with the sick box art my dad got from Menards that I can't run because our computer's too new, or like Streets of SimCity but not total ass. Oh, this is a War of the Monsters video, we'll save Twisted Metal for later, we'll get to it. Anyway, I've been searching for a pre-release build of this game for a long time, at least a few years at this point, and I'm happy to report that I've finally got my hands on one. This is a review build from Europe, so it's PAL, which isn't a problem if you're using an emulator or if you patch the game using some free tools. And it has a full debug menu. The executable was created on January 21st of 2003, just a few days after the US release, and even later after the executable was built for that one, and predating the PAL executable by a little over a month. So I'm guessing that means it's at least practically identical to the NTSC version, and likely very, very close to the final PAL version as well. This Tweaks menu is very similar to those found in the PS2 Twisted Metal games, which makes sense since they're by the same studio. Interestingly, they still refer to the monster you're playing as the monster you're driving. Now, an earlier version of this menu exists in the official PlayStation Magazine demo of the game, as found by Punk7890. Go subscribe to him, seriously. Though that one needed to be enabled through hacks and was turned on via a button combo rather than being right there in the pause menu from the start. And of course, this one's usable throughout the full game rather than what was just available in the demo. There could also be some other debug features available in this version, but none are as apparent as this menu. So what does this menu do? Well, it can completely break the game if you don't know what you're doing, like me, but otherwise you can do wacky stuff like change the gravity, how fast you move, play with the pedestrian patterns, and enable an unused time of day mode. Plus you can see the internal names for the monsters, which is always fun. Goliath Prime's called Ass Boss. The camera can also be modified, so if you want to get a little bit more of a cinematic shot, you can do that. From what I can tell, a ton of attack information can be altered, but it's pretty complex and would require a bit of playing around to figure out how that works. But I did at least make insta-kill projectiles. Similar are the animation and pathing tools, which I'm sure can be very cool if someone takes the time to learn how to use them. Maybe more useful is the ability to manipulate the AI. You can stop them entirely, which is good if you want to just explore or destroy the city in peace. And you can also do it to freeze boss characters. Speaking of those, you can choose which monster to control out of the active ones in the match, meaning you can switch to some of the bosses. Now this is a little less useful than Punk's codes, where you can use Goliath Prime and Cerebulon outside the stages they appear in, and actually switching to Cerebulon's third form in this build will completely crash the game. And it doesn't work for larger bosses that aren't built like the main monsters are. You can, however, remotely control the AI, which makes Cerebulon sort of playable. But perhaps most interesting to me is the ability to play as Cerebulon's second form, or Jelly as he's called in the menu. You can't really do much as him, since he doesn't have any real attacks, but it's more just interesting that it's even possible. So hopefully y'all enjoy messing around with this as much as I have, and there might be more to discover for those willing to dig deeper into the game's code itself. I'm going to stay on the lookout for any other pre-release stuff for this game, and now this disc will take its permanent place in my little War of the Monsters shrine.